The flash of a smartphone camera caught them mid-laugh outside the tiny Brooklyn bookstore. Ian froze first, smile dying on his lips as he recognized the girl holding the phone. His cousin Marissa, eyes wide with delight. "Oh my God! You two are adorable!" she squealed, already typing. Before Caleb could snatch the device or Ian could form words, the photo was live on Instagram. Two men sharing ice cream cones, shoulders brushing, captioned, "Date night goals. Pride Month cute couple family love." Within minutes, the likes rolled in. Then the comments. Then the texts. Ian's phone vibrated so violently it nearly slid off the cafe table. His mother. "Who is that boy? Why didn't you tell us you were seeing someone?" His father. Seconds later. "Call me. Now." Caleb stared at his own screen, face draining of color. His screen showed a forwarded screenshot from his older brother. The same photo, now reposted on a family group chat with laughing emojis, and finally, in all caps, they had agreed on rules. Fake dates only for publicity. Hand-holding for photos, maybe an arm around shoulders. Nothing real. Nothing that could leak beyond controlled posts on their joint author account. The book, Hearts in Hiding, a semi-autobiographical novel about two closeted college friends pretending to date to dodge family pressure, was launching in 3 weeks. Their publisher had pushed the authentic couple angle hard. "Readers eat up the blurring of lines," the marketing director had said. "Just sell the chemistry." They sold it too well. Now the chemistry was combusting. Ian shoved his phone into his pocket. "We need to fix this." Caleb laughed once, sharp and bitter. "Fix what? Your cousin just outed us to half the eastern seaboard." "We're not out. We're not even together. Tell that to my mother. She's already planning Sunday dinner for 4. They walked in silence back to Caleb's apartment above the bookstore, the June air thick with humidity and unspoken panic. Inside, Ian paced the narrow living room while Caleb scrolled through notifications. Hundreds. Thousands. "The publisher's thrilled," Caleb muttered. "They just emailed. Pre-orders spiked 30% in the last hour." "Of course they are." Ian stopped, ran both hands through his hair. They don't have to explain to their Baptist parents why their only son is suddenly in a gay romance novel with his co-author. Caleb looked up, eyes narrowing. "And you think my evangelical family in Ohio is throwing a parade?" Silence stretched between them, taut as wire. They had met 2 years earlier at a writers' conference in Portland. Ian, quiet and meticulous, had just finished a draft about repressed desire in small-town America. Caleb, charismatic and reckless, had a similar manuscript about faith and forbidden love. Their agents saw synergy. Co-written book, a joint tour, a manufactured romance to hook readers. It started innocently. Coffee meetups turned into late-night plotting sessions. Plotting turned into practice. Learning each other's laughs, finishing sentences, mirroring body language. They told themselves it was method acting. Research. But somewhere between the third stage selfie and the second whispered, "I love you." For a TikTok reel, the line blurred. Neither admitted it. Now the blur was public. Ian sank onto the couch. "We tell the truth. We say it was a stunt. Marketing. Done." Caleb shook his head. "Too late. My brother already texted your cousin. She confirmed we've been together 6 months." Ian's stomach dropped. "She what?" She thought she was helping. The room felt smaller. Ian's chest tightened with the familiar vice of expectation. Growing up in suburban Virginia, he had learned early how to smile through sermons, how to date the right girls, how to pray the confusion away. He had never told anyone the truth. Not his parents. Not his pastor. Not even himself most days. Caleb, raised in a stricter household, had tried harder to bury it. Church camp confessions. Ex-gay therapy at 19. A broken engagement at 23. He had come out only to his brother last year, and only because the man caught him kissing a guy at a bar. They were both experts at hiding. Now hiding was impossible. Ian's phone rang. Mom again. He let it go to voicemail. Caleb's buzzed. Dad. They looked at each other. Two men suddenly stripped bare by a single photograph. We could lean in, Caleb said quietly. Ride the wave. Do the interviews. Sell more books. And then what? Ian's voice cracked. Go home for Christmas and pretend it's still fake? Caleb didn't answer. That night neither slept. The next morning brought worse. Ian's father emailed a single line. Your mother cried all night. Explain yourself in person this weekend. Caleb's mother called sobbing. I always knew something was off with that fiancé. But this? With a man? Honey, we love you, but you need to come home. We'll fix this. Fix this. As if love were a typo to be corrected. They met at a diner on Flatbush, hoods up, trying to disappear. Neither touched their coffee. We have to break up publicly, Ian said. Post something. Say it was PR. Apologize for misleading people. Caleb stirred his spoon endlessly. And tank the book? The tour? Our careers. We never should have started this. But we did. Silence again. Then Caleb spoke, voice low. What if we don't break up? Ian stared. What if we just let it be real for a while? Long enough to finish the tour. Long enough for the noise to die down. Then we stage a quiet split. Ian felt something crack inside his chest. Hope, maybe, or terror. That's insane. Is it? Caleb leaned forward. We already know how to act like a couple. We've been doing it for months. But it's not acting anymore. Caleb's gaze didn't waver. Maybe it never was. The words hung between them like smoke. Ian wanted to run. Wanted to call his mother and confess everything. Wanted to disappear. Instead, he reached across the table and brushed Caleb's knuckles with his own. Just once. Just to see what it felt like without cameras. Felt like falling. The first real kiss happened 3 days later, backstage at a Brooklyn indie bookstore event. They had spent the weekend dodging family calls, drafting statements they never sent, arguing in circles. By Monday, the publisher scheduled an emergency Zoom with PR. Lean into it, they said. Announce you're together. Do couple interviews. The pre-orders are through the roof. They agreed because refusing meant admitting the lie, and admitting the lie meant losing everything they had built. So they went on stage as boyfriends. The crowd cheered when they held hands. Someone yelled, "Kiss!" Ian felt his pulse in his throat. Caleb squeezed his fingers. Wait. After the reading, in the green room, the handler left them alone for 5 minutes. Caleb turned. We should practice. Practice what? The kiss. For the photo ops. Ian laughed nervously. We've faked it before. Not like this. Caleb stepped closer. Ian smelled cedar and coffee on him. His heart hammered. Then Caleb kissed him. Not staged. Not performative. Real. Soft at first, testing. Then deeper, hungrier. As if months of restraint snapped at once. Ian's hands found Caleb's waist, pulling him in. The world narrowed to heat and breath and the terrifying certainty that this was no longer pretend. When they broke apart, both were shaking. That wasn't practice, Ian whispered. No, Caleb said. That was truth. They didn't speak about it again that night. But the next morning, when Caleb's hand found Ian's under the breakfast table at a radio interview, it stayed. The tour began in earnest. Boston, Philadelphia, D.C. Each city brought new photos, new interviews, new questions. Are you planning to get married? Have your families met? How does it feel to live your book in real life? They answered with practiced smiles, half-truths, deflections. Behind closed doors, it was different. Hotel rooms became confessionals. Ian told Caleb about the night he almost jumped from the water tower in high school, how prayer hadn't fixed him, how he still flinched at certain Bible verses. Caleb admitted he still checked ex-gay forums late at night, searching for proof he could change back. They fought about whose family was worse, about whether coming out publicly was bravery or betrayal, about whether this thing between them could survive scrutiny. They made up in whispers and tentative touches, learning each other slowly, reverently, as if any sudden move might shatter the fragile thing growing between them. In D.C., after a packed reading at Politics and Prose, they walked along the reflecting pool at midnight. Caleb stopped under a street lamp. I think I'm falling in love with you. Ian's throat closed. Don't say that. Why not? Because if it's real, then the fallout is real too. Caleb cupped Ian's face. It's already real. They kissed there under sodium light, with the Lincoln Memorial watching like a silent judge. The next day, Ian's parents arrived unannounced at the hotel. His mother looked smaller than he remembered, eyes red. His father stood rigid, arms crossed. We drove all night, she said. We need to talk. In the suite, with Caleb beside him on the sofa, Ian listened as his father quoted Leviticus, as his mother begged him to come home and get help. Caleb stayed silent until Ian's father turned to him. You did this to him. Caleb met the man's gaze. No, sir. He did this to himself by being honest. And I'm proud of him for it. Ian's mother began to cry. His father said, You're both going to hell. Then they left. Ian sat motionless for a long time. Caleb pulled him close. I'm here. But Ian felt the fracture begin. That night he dreamed of his childhood church, the pews filled with faces he loved, all turning away. He woke gasping. Caleb held him until the shaking stopped. But the shaking never really stopped. Chicago was where it cracked wide open. They had been on tour 6 weeks. The book hit the New York Times list. Publishers threw parties. Readers sent fan art of their love story. Behind the scenes, Ian's insomnia worsened. Caleb drank more. They argued in elevators, in green rooms, in bed. You're pulling away, Caleb said one night in their suite overlooking Lake Michigan. I'm not. You are. Every time your phone buzzes with a 703 area code, you flinch. Ian sat on the edge of the bed. My sister texted. She's getting married in October. They want me to bring my boyfriend. Caleb laughed without humor. So bring me. And watch my father walk my sister down the aisle while pretending I don't exist? Caleb paced. Then don't go. I have to. She's my sister. You're choosing them over us. I'm not choosing anyone. I'm trying to survive. Caleb stopped. Survive what? Being loved? Being seen? Ian stood. You don't get it. You came out years ago. Your family at least talks to you. Mine acts like I died. Caleb's voice dropped. My family talks to me because they think they can still save me. Every conversation is an intervention. Silence. Then Caleb said, Maybe we end it. Ian felt the floor tilt. What? Before the tour ends. Before we destroy each other. We say it was beautiful but unsustainable. We stay friends. Co-authors. Nothing more. Ian stared at him. You want to go back to pretending? I want to stop pretending it doesn't hurt. The fight that followed was ugly. Words like coward, selfish, liar. Doors slammed. Ian slept on the couch. The next morning they had a joint interview with a major podcast. They smiled for the mics, talked about love conquering fear, listened to their own lies in surround sound. Afterward, in the car, Ian said, I don't want to end it. Caleb looked out the window. Then stop running. I'm trying. Try harder. That night, after the reading, a fan approached them at the signing table. A teenage boy, maybe 16, hands shaking as he slid forward his copy. I'm like you, he whispered. My parents don't know. I'm scared. Ian felt something break open inside him. He signed the book, then added, You are enough. You don't have to hide forever. The boy cried. Caleb watched, eyes shining. Later, in their room, Caleb said, That kid is us 10 years ago. I know. So what are we teaching him if we quit now? Ian had no answer. They didn't quit. But the pressure mounted. Ian's sister called crying. Dad said if you bring him, he won't come to my wedding. Caleb's brother texted, Mom's in the hospital. Stress-related. She keeps asking why you won't just choose right. They held each other that night, but the embrace felt desperate, like two men clinging to wreckage. In Denver, during a live-streamed Q&A, someone asked, What's the hardest part of being openly gay in 2025? Ian hesitated. Caleb answered for him. The people who love you most asking you to stop being you. The chat exploded. Protect Ian and Caleb trended. But so did fake for sales. Conspiracy threads multiplied. Their publisher loved the drama. Their hearts did not. Los Angeles was the breaking point. The final stop, a rooftop launch party at the Getty. Hollywood agents, influencers, paparazzi. They arrived together, hands linked, smiles fixed. Inside, champagne flowed, toasts were made. Then Ian's phone rang. His sister. He stepped outside to the terrace. Dad had a heart attack, she said. He's stable, but he asked for you. Ian's knees buckled. He gripped the railing. Is he? He's alive. But he said if he dies, he doesn't want to go without making peace. Ian closed his eyes. Caleb found him there, face wet. What happened? My dad. Caleb pulled him into a hug. I'll book flights.
No.
Caleb stepped back. What? I have to go alone. Why? Because if you come, he'll think it's a show. He'll think I brought you to prove a point. Caleb's face hardened. Or maybe you're ashamed. That's not fair. Isn't it? Caleb's voice rose. 6 months of this. 6 months of me standing beside you while your family pretends I'm a phase. And now, when it matters, you still won't claim me. I'm claiming you every day. Not to them. Ian felt tears burn.
I'm terrified. Okay.
Terrified he'll die hating me. Terrified he'll live and never speak to me again. Caleb's jaw worked. And I'm terrified you'll go back in the closet the second you step foot in Virginia. They stared at each other, wind whipping across the rooftop. Then Caleb said, Go. Ian left that night. Caleb stayed for the after-party, smiling for cameras, pretending everything was fine. In Virginia, Ian sat by his father's hospital bed. The man looked smaller, tubes in his arms. Dad. His father opened his eyes. You came. Of course I came. Silence. Then, that boy. Caleb. Ian braced. Is he good to you? The question was so unexpected Ian laughed through tears. Yeah. He's the best thing that ever happened to me. His father looked away. I don't understand it. I know. But I don't want to lose you. Ian took his hand. Then don't. His father squeezed back. Weak but there. They didn't talk about God or sin. Not yet. But they talked. When Ian flew back to LA 2 days later, Caleb was waiting at the airport. No words at first. Just a long, fierce embrace. I'm sorry, Ian said into Caleb's shoulder. I'm sorry too. They went home together. But home felt different now. The tour was over. The book was a bestseller. And they were still standing. But the real test was coming. Thanksgiving. Both families expected them. Both families expected surrender. Thanksgiving fell on a Thursday in late November. Ian and Caleb drove from New York to Virginia first. The house smelled of sage and tension. Ian's mother hugged him too tight. His sister smiled carefully. His father, thinner since the hospital, shook Caleb's hand without meeting his eyes. Dinner was quiet, until dessert. Ian's father cleared his throat. I've been thinking. Everyone froze. I've read your book. Ian's heart stopped. It hurt, his father continued. But I saw you in it. The fear. The hiding. I saw myself too. How hard I pushed you to be someone else. Silence. I'm not saying I understand, but I'm saying I love you. Both of you. He looked at Caleb. If you make him happy, then you're welcome here. Ian's mother began to cry, soft, relieved tears. Caleb swallowed hard. Thank you, sir. They stayed the weekend. It wasn't perfect. Conversations skirted landmines. But no one asked them to leave. Then Ohio. Caleb's family lived in a modest ranch house outside Columbus. His mother met them at the door, eyes wary. His father stayed in the living room watching football. Dinner was strained. Afterward, Caleb's mother pulled him aside. I prayed for you every night. I know, Mom. I prayed God would take it away. Caleb's voice cracked. He didn't. She looked at Ian across the room. But he gave you someone who loves you. Caleb nodded. His mother hugged him. Then I'll learn to love him too. Took time. Weeks. Months. Holidays came and went. Arguments flared. But slowly, painfully, bridges formed. Not full acceptance. Not yet. But willingness. One evening in spring, Ian and Caleb sat on their Brooklyn fire escape, sharing a bottle of wine. The city glittered below. Ian said, "We survived." Caleb smiled. "Barely. But we did." Caleb took his hand. "Because we chose each other." Ian looked at him, really looked, and knew this was the real story. Not the book. Not the photos. Them. Two men who pretended until pretending became impossible. Then chose truth whatever the cost. The cost had been high. Family tears. Lost friends. Sleepless nights. But the reward was higher. Love unscripted. Real. Finally real. So here is the question left hanging in the quiet between them. Was it worth it? Was the price of authenticity, pain, rejection, years of rebuilding, worth the freedom on the other side? Or should they have stayed hidden, safe, and alone? You decide.